Local history. Local culture. Local events. Your community. This is the Joe Kelly Show.
And welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us. The Oneida County Sheriff is our guest, Robert Maciol. We're going to be talking about a variety of issues impacting Oneida County. But before we do that, we're going to say welcome. Good to see you again.
Same here. Thank you for having me, as always. It's enjoy to come on and after your show airs, I always have people reach out to me and they say they really enjoy watching your show every weekend.
I appreciate you saying that. Just recently, there was some news out of the Oneida County office building, and that was increased security by you. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office has provided security for as long as I can remember, but you've upped it?
We have. As you said, as long as everyone can remember, there's always been a presence of Oneida County Sheriff's Office deputies in the county office building on Park Ave. The past few years, not just here, but across the country, we've seen a change in people a little bit, and some folks who work in these public buildings have been dealing with people who, enter with sometimes bad intentions. And most recently, we've had a few incidents where we've found weapons on people. When I say weapons, not necessarily guns, but some other weapons that could do, some harm to people if they were with bad intentions. We've been dealing with folks overdosing in the restrooms, a lot of things going on, like I said. So after consulting, for quite some time with the county executive, we felt it was time to up the security in the building. Not so much the number of officers in the building, but we need to check people for weapons coming in. So the county executive put out a change in policy because obviously as the county executive, he sets the policy for the rules, regarding the operations of the building internally. So now folks entering the building are wanded with metal detecting wands. There's actually a capital project that'll be starting soon at the county building. So the vestibule out front on Park Ave where people enter, it's going to be closed in. We will get walk-through magnetometers. There'll be an x-ray machine for baggage to go through, similar to what happens when you enter the county courthouse. But until that time, because we didn't want to wait until that project was done, we needed to increase our checking of people coming in. So basically coming in, folks we're not touching anyone physically, but a wand is waved over you and can detect any metal objects. And of course, people have to identify what they have on them first. And that first day alone, we implemented this last week, we started it. I think that first day alone, we had people walking in with more than a dozen knives alone, just knives. Not that there's anything illegal about that, but we just don't want weapons at the building. So we do have lockers where people can secure their personal property, go in, conduct your business in the county building, and then when you come out, you'll be able to retrieve your property. So just, we want to provide the best of security for not only the employees, but other people visiting. Is it a little bit of an inconvenience? At times it can be. But the employees welcomed this with open arms. They're very pleased that the county executive made this decision because, again, people are dealing with just a lot more. There's a lot more incidents of people getting upset, getting frustrated, and we can blame that on a bunch of things. Society is a little bit different, especially over the past couple of years, and so we're just trying to keep people safe.
Now, do I understand what you were saying correctly, Sheriff, that one of the entrances is going to be closed off in this capital project?
There's only going to be one entrance, as there is now. 800 Park Ave, the Park Ave side of the building is the only way you can enter that building. There are other entrances, obviously, so if people had to get out, in an emergency, you can. But as far as coming in, it's the only place the general public enters the building.
Shows you how long it's been since I've been down there, because I used to always come in off of Charlotte.
Charlotte Street is the back side, so you'll actually enter off the front side where the overhang is.
Yeah.
And that overhang, like I said, is going to be closed in. It's temporarily closed in now with some plastic, but that's going to be closed in, and people will, like I said, it'll be much easier once you walk through a magnetometer and set your bag on an elevator and it goes through an x-ray machine. But until then, we're doing hand wands right now.
Yeah, and the number of personnel you have. I can remember coming in and seeing 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, typically somewhere around 6 in the building, but they have a lot of different responsibilities. So their sole responsibility was never just for security there. We contract, their services are contracted through the Department of Social Services. So they also, one of the main things they do is do transports for DSS. Like if a child has to be taken to family court or if someone has to be transported to a facility, that's part of what we do there too. So we do have extra staff down there assisting them with security, because if these deputies get called away for something else, we can't leave that post unattended to.
And now, are you talking about the deputies just in 800 Park Ave, or are you including the courthouse?
Courthouse is a separate security issue. That's been in place before I arrived. So the security level there has always been where it is now. We're just trying to bring the county building up to the same standards as next door. Just again, no need for someone to walk into that building with a weapon when you're going in to conduct businesses. And
What would you consider a weapon?
Well, we don't allow any knives. Obviously, we don't allow any unauthorized packages. Obviously, no guns. I'm assuming if someone is going to be illegally possessing a gun, they're not going to be coming through our check-in station. Folks who legally possess firearms, which there are a lot of them, like I said, there will be a place for people to secure them. You'll have the key. You go conduct your business. You come back. You retrieve your weapon. Because as a pro-gun guy, I know there's a lot of people in our community that do legally possess a pistol permit, and they carry guns all the time, and I'm all for that. There's just certain places that that's not allowed. So
would a spray be considered a weapon?
We would take that, sure. Any type of like pepper spray, anything of that sort, we would hold that. And again, any type of other unauthorized items. There's a list on the wall. As you're approaching the building, this is no surprise. There's a list there of what's prohibited, what's not. And again, it's just for everyone's safety, and hopefully everyone understands that.
On a more positive note, you gave an award away just the other day to a bus driver. What was the story behind that?
Sure. In New York, I'm going to throw a shocking number at you, but in the state of New York, this is a pre-COVID number, when schools were all up and running, kids were in person. In New York, about 50,000 cars pass stop school buses every day in the state of New York. And a lot of those numbers come out of downstate, but still, that's a huge number. But back on January 24th in the VVS school district, bus driver was doing an afternoon run, it was a 13-year-old that was getting off the bus. Last stop of the day, bus driver pulled up in front of the house, put the lights on, the arm came out. A car was approaching the back of the bus. We have this on security footage from a house nearby. Very scary video. Car was approaching the back of the bus at a high speed. Didn't realize the bus was stopping. At the last minute, the car swerved past the bus on the right-hand side. As the student is going down the steps of the bus to step off, clearly would have been seriously injured, if not killed. The bus driver was able to reach out, grab that child, stop them from exiting the bus as the car zoomed by. Saved the life of that child. So earlier this week, myself and Sergeant Curtis from our Community Affairs Unit, we went out to the VVS school board meeting, made a presentation to the bus driver just to say thank you. And a very humble guy. He didn't want the award. He didn't want to be there. He felt it's his job. I mean, he takes his job seriously and wanted to, it's his job to keep the kids safe. And we're just grateful that young lady was saved that day by her bus driver.
Good for him. Oneida County Sheriff Robert Maciol is our guest. We're talking about things in Oneida County, and we'll be right back. Short break. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Oneida County Sheriff Robert Maciol is our guest, and we're talking about a variety of issues, including this is the season where another service of the Sheriff's Office comes into play, and that is snowmobiles. How big of a operation is it for the Sheriff's Office?
We patrol about 650 miles of groomed snowmobile trails in Oneida County. In our fleet, we have 4 snowmobiles, and we have several deputies that are trained. We don't have deputies strictly dedicated to snowmobile patrol. But the deputies work these details either scheduled or on their days off or for overtime. They'll come in and work the snowmobile patrols. Typically, we're out every weekend, and then when time or other events are going on, we get out there during the week. But this year, unfortunately, we were off to an extremely bad start. We had a serious or a significant number of snowmobile accidents right out of the gate, and it continued straight on through. Obviously, since the thaw we had, 7 or 8 or 10 days ago, put a significant damper on the trail systems. Then we recently got some additional snow. Most of the trail systems did not open back up, but unfortunately a lot of people went back out on the trail systems. And what we've been dealing with this year, it's been a very unique winter. Up and down with the temperature, not a whole lot of snowfall, but enough for the trail systems. But what we did see was a significant amount of ice on the trail systems, because when you get that warming during the day and then the freezing at night. So take that into consideration. Now let's factor in these snowmobiles that people buy, the new ones coming out of the crate off a showroom floor. These things will do 125 miles an hour like nothing. A lot of the people that were in these accidents, and some of the neighboring counties, our contiguous counties, they had a significant number of fatalities. But what happens is a lot of these people only ride their snowmobiles 2 or 3 weekends out of the year. They're what some people refer to as like the weekend warriors of the snowmobilers. And these machines, high rate of speed, most of these accidents occur as they're on an open stretch, and then they have to slow down to go into a trail system or slow down to go into a curve. And that's where they lose control. And nearly all the fatals were a result of people rolling their sleds over, striking trees or tree stumps. The human body flying off a 100-mile-an-hour snowmobile is no match for any when they strike a tree, it's just the results are tragic. So saw a high number of accidents, and again, it's just, we stress to people all the time. We kick off every snowmobile season with that safety reminder. We keep pushing safety, 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 but we find that we continue to see these accidents. And I know we're never going to be able to avoid that, but because snowmobiling still, for the thousands of sleds that are out there, it's tremendous for the economy. It's a great county for tourism. We have a lot of attractions, a lot of great restaurants along the trail systems, a lot of scenery. But sadly, we still have to deal with these tragic accidents, and they all could have been avoided if people just slow down, to be honest with you. Alcohol is still an issue occasionally, but it's not the major contributing factor. Speed and driver, I don't want to say inattention, but driver inexperience is just the contributing factors.
Let me take a jump back to kids for a second. In schools, the Oneida County Sheriff's Office plays a big role in security at schools. I don't know if you do the Utica City School.
We do half of the Utica. We do. So the Sheriff's Office has a presence for security in nearly every single school district in this county. There's a couple exceptions, and it's easier to name the exceptions because there's so many of the other ones. We don't have a presence in Oriskany because they have the Oriskany Police. We don't have a presence in the City of Rome School District because they have the Rome Police. New Hartford Police handles New Hartford schools, and New York Mills handles New York Mills schools. But the other 7, 8, or 9 remaining school districts, we have a presence in every single one of them, including Utica. We are in the 10 Utica elementary schools. The Utica Police Department handles the middle school and high school. We are there for a couple different types. Most schools were there with special patrol officers. They're members of the Sheriff's Office who are retired peace or police officers. Their main function is security. Their sole function is security of the building, protecting the people inside from anything outside that may try to come in. We also have school resource officers in several districts, and some of the districts have a mixture of both. So we have a little bit of everything, but this is an initiative of the county executives and I. A few years ago, obviously school security has always been a priority, but since the Parkland shooting back in 2017, I believe, we really amped it up. Actually, it was after 17. That's when we first started our program. But we really amped up our presence because we wanted to ensure that we do as much as we can to keep our kids safe. So we have, like I said, every school district in this county has some level of armed police officers in their building. And as sad as it is to say, we need to have police officers in our school buildings in order to keep our kids safe.
So these would be sworn officers?
They are sworn members of the Sheriff's Office. They're all part-time, which again, they're retired police officers, which is a good thing for schools. We're bringing in seasoned well-trained, well-versed. They handle, these are either retired police officers, deputy sheriffs, retired troopers, corrections officers, parole officers, probation officers. And again, obviously it's a benefit for the county because we're not paying them benefits. But at the same time, it brings, like I said, a lot of experience and they know how to handle situations, especially tense ones. Not that there's a lot, but when something serious happens, I need people that are going to be able to react properly. They're all trained in first aid. They have Narcan. They're all trained in active shooter courses every year. So, we're doing our best to ensure the safety of our kids.
Narcan is?
If there's an overdose, a heroin overdose, sadly we see a lot of that, not so much in schools, but we see a tremendous amount of heroin overdose and deaths from heroin overdoses. And we've just seen, and again, it's important. I do have some critics out there because, when I went public with the fact that we're training most of our people to carry Narcan, some people think if someone, is going to overdose on heroin, you should just let them go. They know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. That person on the ground that's overdosing, that's someone's mother, father, son, daughter, brother, sister. Our job is to save lives. As long as I'm the sheriff, that's always going to be our top priority. We'll deal with what brought them to that point at another time. But at this time, it's our job to save their life.
In the number of deputies that are trained with this Narcan, is it the majority?
It is all of them, absolutely, including staff inside the facility, corrections officers, along with our medical staff in the facility. You never know when you're going to encounter someone. I mean, I'm trained in Narcan. I carry it. Because who knows if I'm out, go in a meeting or going in a public building or somewhere and someone overdoses. This is something that'll save a person's life. And again, we're seeing more and more of that. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Is it a difficult thing to administer?
Very easy. It's nasal spray. It's very easy. It's and we've tried to make things. When I say we, not me, but you try that things are developed so that someone who's not. They don't do this every single day will be able to perform it. It's similar to us having AEDs all over the place. I mean, you could save someone's life if they're having a heart attack with an AED, even if you're not an EMT. I mean, there's steps, easy steps that walks you through. This is basically the same thing. It's just like a nasal spray.
Okay. When we come back, we need to, because whenever you're in here, I ask you about this. It's a continuing challenge, and that is Oneida County Correctional Facility and the staffing up there. So we'll take a look at that in just a second. Oneida County Sheriff Robert Maciol is our guest. Short break, right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Oneida County Sheriff Robert Maciol is our guest. He is on the job of law enforcement for 34 years and Oneida County Sheriff for 11 years. And prior to being Sheriff, you were in, first New York Mills and then Whitestown?
First New York Mills, briefly in Whitestown, and then about 19 years in Whitesboro, the village, and then came to the Sheriff's office in 2010. End of 10, began obviously 2011 is when I took office.
Yeah.
But yeah, 34 years. It's been. I was lucky. I came on the job at the age of 20. Got my first police job in my hometown. It's been a heck of a ride.
Yeah.
A lot of.
And
then
you were mayor of your hometown.
I was when I was a police officer in New York Mills. I'm sorry, when I was a police officer in Whitesboro, I ran for mayor of my hometown, New York Mills, and was elected the youngest mayor. Served as the mayor for 10 years. And then when I got elected sheriff in November of 2010, I had to step down as mayor and I had to leave the Whitesboro Police Department because I was beginning as sheriff January 1 of 11.
Yeah. What do you think about people who say that we've got too much overlapping of police departments in Oneida County and that we should have more, I don't know what the right word is for it, but less fragmentation and more.
We do. There's definitely a duplication of service. But it's a local choice. I mean, if a town or village wants to pay for their own police, it's a local choice. My thing is though, and now policing has changed so much, especially the last 4 years going back, and more so in the last 2 of the past 4 years. It's really changed a lot. There's so many mandates put down from the state or put onto us from the state. A lot of small agencies can't meet the minimum training requirements, can't meet the minimum hiring requirements. I mean, now with police reform, you have to do psychologicals on police officers, and in hiring, there's a high standard set for hiring police officers. You take an example of like the town of Whitestown. Within the town, because the town has their own police, there's 4 villages that all have their own police. Some of those villages have more than 1 or 2 police cars working at a time. At any given time, you could have 6 or 7 police cars covering the town of Whitestown, when I have 5 sheriff's cars covering the whole county. So clearly a duplication of service. There's clearly an opportunity for local governments to save money. If there was consolidation, I know that's a terrible word to some people, but we really need to look at how policing is done now. There's only a couple accredited law enforcement agencies in Oneida County out of the 13 or so police departments. There's only 3 of us that are accredited. The sheriff's office being one of them. The other 11 of them or 10 of them are not. They're not meeting minimum standards. So again, it's something that local governments are going to be having to look at. And I think as time goes on, and again, this is not easy for recruitment either. That in any law enforcement entity, in the resources that the county sheriff's office has, some of the local police departments, I mean, they call on us every day, and that's fine. That's what we're here for. But they really need to look at how business is being done.
Speaking of recruitment, the sheriff's office has had a difficult time recruiting. I don't know about the road patrol. Is that?
We don't have an issue with recruitment in the road patrol. We have a significant issue with retention in the road patrol. We struggle with recruitment and retention in the correctional facility. And I'm going to be blunt with you as to why that's happening. We are not competing with our neighboring law enforcement agencies and correctional facilities in the area when it comes to pay and benefits. We don't compare to them. I mean, I consistently lose members of the sheriff's office, both divisions, to the state police, to the city of Utica Police Department. I just lost 2 deputy sheriffs to the Utica Police Department just a few days ago. We consistently lose them to state corrections. We've lost corrections officers to private retail. We have both retail people who are stealing our people and they're getting paid more, and we also have a local a manufacturing company that's up and coming, building here in our community now, and they're taking my people for security jobs. And we really need, when I say we, the county really needs to amp up its salary and its benefits, because again, I'm constantly struggling with recruitment and retention, and it's a constant struggle.
Yeah. When you say retail, you mean private sector?
Yeah. Believe it or not, there's a local retail store that's paying security officers $27 an hour to be a security officer, because they're dealing with so much theft in their stores. They're hiring experienced people to do loss prevention, and they're paying them significantly more than I am. It's pretty sad when you have a trained law enforcement official, in this case a corrections officer, and they're leaving for retail. That leads us into a whole other topic. And why is retail under so much struggle right now? It's because of our failed bail reform system, because there's so much, I mean, the spike in crime we've seen, it's just incredible, both regular, nonviolent and violent crime. It's incredible.
What is, I want to ask you about bail reform in a second, but what does a Oneida County Sheriff's deputy start at?
Corrections, starting salary is about, $38,000, $43,000 immediately upon training. We've been really stressing that $43,000 starting salary. Deputy sheriff on the road patrol starting salary is about $48,000. We have a 25-year retirement system in the road patrol. Most other law enforcement agencies have a 20-year retirement system. A lot of the other people are looking at benefits at retirement. A lot of the other agencies are offering health insurance at retirement. with very little contribution. We offer it, but with significant contribution at retirement. So there's a lot of moving parts. We have 2 unions currently under negotiation, so those are all things that hopefully we can come to the table on.
We've only got about 45 seconds left, but bail reform, you predicted it way back when, how bad this was going to be. I guess you were right on.
It's bad. Something as minor as a shoplifter 27 times and you still never spend a day in jail. 27 times, same person charged with shoplifting at a local store. Just the other night, we had an individual in a dispute. An individual held a machete to a person's throat. They were charged with menacing and criminal possession of a weapon. They were released. They were not held in jail. Victims, an older victim, just crying out for help because they felt that their life is in danger. This is a failed system. The legislators need to state legislators, especially those downstate, need to wake up and change this. Simplify it. Give judges the discretion to hold people.
Any chance of that?
I don't know. I'm not too optimistic because we need a balance of power here because downstate is destroying us when it comes to bail reform.
Always good to see you. Come back
Thank you
soon.
very much.
That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back next week. We'll do it all again. Don't forget SanYHomepage.com. Lots of good stuff there. Until next time, take care of yourself, everybody.